Into match number 7 we go now, over in Africa, with some nations on the brink of qualification for the World Cup next year and other nations already on the brink of elimination. Who are we talking about? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at, of course, the World Cup qualifiers over in Africa, and we'll get to it in a second. If you do, where you been? Smash your subscribe. You want some short for Blackburn Rovers World Cup qualifiers. More Blackburn Rovers, but all here under one roof. Of course, the World Cup is next year. We have non-stop coverage right here on the channel, and we'll be covering the old World Cup qualifiers in Africa. But now we're going to bring you back up to date with where we all are at, as of course the African nations try to get themselves closer to the mark. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. Again, if you're new, hit the old subscribe. You want some shoppers here. Big shout out to the members and their Patreons, of course. So we're going to recap well, actually, we're going to showcase you where we are in the World Cup standings here for the qualifiers over in Africa. See who is on the brink of qualification. There might even be a nation or two that's already there. So let's get into it then, shall we, to take a look back at the stages that we're in the moment. So typically, right about now, I would recap the results from last time. But we're not doing that because we're kind of tight on time here. So I've got to get to the heart of the matter, which is the next round of games. So these are the standings right now as we enter match number 7, with Egypt looking destined to qualify for the World Cup. Again, as we go through this, top nation in all groups go through. Teams in second go through to a sort of playoff sort of scenario, with the top 4 second placed teams will then duke it out in a sort of mini bracket. So Egypt in the driving seat, Burkina Faso and Sierra Leone trying to duke it out realistically for that runners-up spot, with what we're looking at 4 games left. So what we're at 12 points remaining, so nobody's nailed on just yet. Meanwhile, the DR Congo, they're in charge in their group at the moment, ahead of Senegal, so that could be an upset to keep an eye on in Group B. Over in Group C, we have South Africa, Bafana. They are dominating Group C right now, with Nigeria struggling. Again, still 12 points on the offering there, so not over the line yet, but we could see a giant change heading into the back end of this with some results as well. Meanwhile, Cape Verde also in charge in Group D, with Cameroon in second place. Angola, keep an eye on those guys as well for a late surge. Into Group E, Morocco are dominating, 5 wins out of 5. They look good. They've actually got games in hand potentially, or maybe Eritrea there. Eritrea have eliminated themselves from qualification, so that one's a little bit complicated at the moment to get up to speed. Meanwhile, over in Group F, Ivory Coast on fire right now, looking good. Just the one blip in the resume. Gabon also in there. My boys Kenya not doing the greatest right now. Into Group G, Algeria also kicking ass and taking names, 3 points clear over Mozambique. They look good right now to qualify, with Tunisia in Group H with also an unbeaten start. Namibia, though, not too shabby there. Could they feature potentially as a runner-up? We'll see about that. And finally is Ghana. They've had a right old rough end of the stick, Ghana, of late. But right now, this is them, top of the pops in Group I. So right now, as we stand, these are the second place teams. If it was to end today, Gabon, Cameroon, Senegal and Namibia would qualify through that playoff, which of course would have 4 nations go through. They would of course eliminate to just 1 remaining nation. So alrighty there, folks, at the top of the pops, Eritrea against Zambia is not going ahead. Of course, Eritrea withdrew from the World Cup qualifiers, so Zambia either get given the 3 points or they just kind of ignore it altogether. But if it was to happen, it would have been a victory for Zambia in my eyes. But we're going to start with Seychelles up against Gabon, coming at you on the 3rd of September. They played each other just the one time. It was the reverse fixture, and that ended up being a 3-0 win for Gabon in Gabon. Now, these 2 nations are in Group F, with Gabon currently sitting in second with 15 points, Seychelles with nothing so far. They ain't going to get anything out of this one either. We're going to go with a win for Gabon. Moving forward, let's go to we're going to go to Guinea-Bissau as they take on not my boys, but a team or a nation close to my heart in a minute, Sierra Leone. That's right, they're locking horns in Guinea-Bissau, and they've played 5 times since 2007. 1 win for Guinea-Bissau, 2 wins for Sierra Leone. There's been 2 draws between the 2 sides. Coming into this Guinea-Bissau on a bit of rotten form right now, 0% form. They are winners in at least the last 10, and they lost 6 on the bounce. Up against Sierra Leone, who are coming into sitting in 3rd with 8 points to their name, winning once of the last 4 matches. Now, the last time these 2 sides played, it wasn't in Sierra Leone. Reverse fixture, 3-1 winners it was way back when. This one, of course, I didn't know that form was there, but I have gone with a draw anyway, 1-1 scoreline. right down the middle to split the difference. Meanwhile, we go to Mauritius as they take on Cape Verde over in Group D. Mauritius kicking all off with 4 successive draws over the last 4 matches against Cape Verde, who are unbeaten in the last 4. If you open it up a little bit more further, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They played Mauritius 3 times in 2008, 3 wins for them, of course, 3 wins out of 3, including the reverse fixture back in March 2025. It was a 1-0 win. Now, the last time they played in Mauritius was way back in June 2008, and it resulted in a 1-0 victory for Cape Verde. Of course, Cape Verde should win this one. They have a lot of quality about them. But I've gone with a 0-0 scoreline, upsetting the apple cart already as we try to see. Because, you never know with the African nations. Of course, might get a few surprises, curveballs here and there. And they are on draws. They're on a run of draws right now. So let's kick it on forward with Angola, taking on Liberia, coming at you on the 4th of September, coming at you over in Angola. These two nations have played 3 times in 2021, 1 for Libya, nothing for Angola. There's been 2 draws between the two sides. Angola currently find themselves 4th in Group D, with Libya currently find themselves in 3rd. That's right. Now, the last 2 times they've played, both of the matches were in Libya and both ended up being all square 1-1. And the last time they played in Angola was way back in September 2021, and it resulted in a 1-0 win for Libya. But not for me for this time around. I think Angola will bounce back and go with a 2-1 win for them in this match. Coming at you on the 4th of September. Let's go Cameroon as they take on Eswatini. That's right, over in Group D. Cameroon coming at you in 2nd spot right now. They need a bit more kudos to their name here to get themselves qualified for this World Cup, because we need these juggernauts at the World Cup. 12 points for them so far, unbeaten in the last 6 matches. However, Eswatini are winless in the last 16, but they have drawn 4 of the last 6. They played once in 2025. There's a reverse fixture in Eswatini, and there's a 0-0 scoreline way back in March. But of course, this one is completely different. Cameroon will have to win this game. Might be a bit of pressure on them, but they should come out top comfortably. 3-1 win in the end. Algeria, they're next up out of the blocks. They're taking on, they're going to be taking on Botswana, that's right, also on the 4th of September, coming up over in Group G. Algeria find themselves top of the pops with 15 points for them, up against Botswana, who are in 3rd with 9 points. Both sides coming into this in not the best bit of form. Botswana 50% form for them right now, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against Algeria, just 1 win in the last 6. They actually drawn 3 of the last 4. But they last played against Botswana in Algeria, ending up with a 5-0 win way back in March 2021. They did play already this campaign back in March in Botswana, resulting in a 3-1 win for Algeria. So they'll have they'll expect to win this game as well, being in Algeria. Going to go with not our biggest scoreline, but a 2-0 win for Algeria to secure the points and possibly already secure their passage to the World Cup in the USA, Mexico, and Canada. Meanwhile, Sao Tao Principale up against Equatorial Guinea, coming at you over in Group H. Sao Tao Principale, 6th right now, no points for them on the board, 4 defeats on the spin. Up against Equatorial Guinea, who are 4th with 7 points, but coming into this just 1 win in the last 6. They last played these two sides, one and only, back in March 2025. It was a 2-0 win for Equatorial Guinea. Sao Tao Principale haven't won in the last 25, so I don't think they're winning this one. Going to go with a draw, though. They have got a couple of draws knocking around, so again, a couple of curveballs knocking around in the old African qualifiers, but we'll see if we are right or wrong. Meanwhile, Tunisia coming at you up against Libya, coming at you over in Tunisia as well. They played 3 times in 2015, these two clubs or nations. 2 wins Tunisia, 1 for Libya. There's been no draws. This match, of course, over in Group H, where Tunisia topped the charts there with 16 points to the name. Up against Libya, though, who are 3rd, 10 points to the name, who have won twice of the last 6 matches. Now, the last played over in Tunisia, resulting in a 4-1 win for the hosts back in September 2016. I don't see anything different this time around. We're going to go with a 2-0 win once again for Tunisia. Moving forward, we go Chad as they take on Ghana. That's over in Group I. Chad currently find themselves bottom of the pile there with no points to the name up against Ghana, who are top with 15 points to the name, and they've won 3 of the last 4 matches in all competitions and all sizes. Meanwhile, they last played, of course, the reverse fixture back in March in Ghana. It was a 5-0 win for the Black Stars there. They're hoping to get another result of a similar nature this time around, and I've just gone with the 1-0 win because I'm a little bit iffy about them at the moment. Moving forward, we got Madagascar taking on Central African Republic. That's right, Madagascar are in 3rd right now on a good bit of form, winning 4 on the bounce, all shapes and sizes. Meanwhile, Central African Republic coming into this on 5th with 5 points to the name, winless in the last 6. They played 8 times, these two nations, since 2015. 3 wins for Madagascar, 3 for Central African Republic, and there's been 2 draws between the two sides. They last played over at this very venue in Madagascar. It was a 2-0 win way back in August 2025. It was in the African Nations Championship last time, yeah. So the reverse fixture, 4-1 win for Madagascar way back in March 2025. They should. This was a tight one. I don't know exactly. I've gone with a draw here, another draw. But Madagascar look good on paper right now. So we'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Let's go to Mali now as they take on Comoros. Over at Mali. Mali sitting in 4th right now with 9 points to their name. Up against Comoros, who are 2nd with 12 points to their name. That's over in Group I. Now, they have played a reverse fixture in Comoros. 3-0 win it was for Mali, so a comfortable win for them. I do think they will, I know they're currently trailing Comoros, so I do think they'll start to pick up a bit of form here. I do think they'll get this one as well. 2-0 winners. Mali taking the points. Moving on, we'll go to Djibouti. Now, we're switching days here. Now, we're going to the 5th of September as Djibouti take on Burkina Faso. That's over in Group A, where, of course, Burkina Faso are in 2nd place with 11 points compared to Djibouti, who are down in 6th with the 1 point. Now, they played 3 times in 2021. 3 wins Burkina Faso, nothing for Djibouti. And there's been no draws between the two sides. The reverse fixture back in March, 4-1 winners it was for Burkina Faso. And I do think they are one of the nations to avoid right now over in Africa because they are pretty good. I think they'll win this one comfortably. 2-0 winners to get the points and move the chains. Meanwhile, Egypt, again, powerhouse nation. They are taking on Ethiopia. That's over in Group A as well. Egypt coming into this top of the pops there, 16 points for them, unbeaten in at least the last 10 matches. Up against Ethiopia, who've won 2 of the last 3. They sit 4th with 6 points over in Group A. Now, they played 3 times, these two nations. So 2022, 2 wins Egypt, 1 for Ethiopia. There's been no draws between the two sides. The reverse fixture back in Ethiopia, back in March, 2-0 winners it was for Egypt. And, of course, when these two sides last played in Egypt back in September 2023, it was a 1-0 win for Mo Salah's boys on this one. They'll win this one as well. Of course they will. 3-0 winners. And, again, edging closer to a World Cup, which we need them to be there. Meanwhile, South Sudan, they're coming at you up against DR Congo. That's coming at you over in Group B. South Sudan are 5th, 3 points to their name. Up against DR Congo, who are top with 13 points. Another nation to fear, to worry about, because these guys are starting to crank it up a little bit. They have played previously back in March 2025. 1-0 winners it was from DR Congo, who are edging closer to the first ever World Cup. So again, top of the pops at the end of the qualifying, they will go there. But they have got still a mountain to climb on this one. I do anticipate them to get something out of this. Gone with a 2-1 narrow win, close one. But that's a massive 3 points in the grand scheme of things. Meanwhile, we got Mauritania as they take on Togo. That's coming at you over in Group B. Mauritania are in 6th right now with just 2 points to the name. Togo are in 4th with 4 points. They played twice since 2003, and both of those 2 games previously were draws. Of course, coming into this, Togo 1-1 lost, 1 drew, win over the last 3. Mauritania were on back-to-back wins, of course. So they've got the tails up right here, right now. This one's a tight one. Going to go with a 1-0 away win for Togo, but that one could be wrong. We'll see about that. Just that one could be wrong. The rest going to be right. Meanwhile, Senegal, they're up against Sudan. That's right, in Senegal. Played each other 5 times in 2018. 3 wins to the host, 2 nothing for Sudan. 2 draws for the two sides. Coming into this, they are 2nd place, right, Senegal, over in Group B. Of course, that's where DR Congo have got to fear. I've got to fear the Senegalese. They're coming at you. 3rd place, Sudan right now with 12 points. They last played the reverse fixture. In fact, the reverse fixture was way back in March 2025. It was a 0-0 score way back then. But they played previously in the African Nations Championship, August 2025. There was a 0-0 score in there. Then a penalty shootout as well. So they've been familiar foes of late. Sudan have not won against them in a long time. Yeah, ever, according to my records here. Coming into this, though, Senegal should win this game to put the heat over in Group B. Kick it on forward we go. Where are we going? We're going to Benin as they take on Zimbabwe. Coming out in Benin. Of course, they are 3rd right now, 8 points to the name. They are winless in the last 6. Zimbabwe coming into this. They are 6th with 4 points to their name. They played just the one time. Reverse fixture. It was a 2-2 scoreline way back in March. Tough one to call this one. Zimbabwe have been okay, but they're not going to get much out of this. Going to go with the score draw again. Next up, we go Lesotho up against South Africa. That's right, coming at you over in Lesotho. This is over in Group C. South Africa kicking ass and taking names. Top of the pops right there, 13 points to the name. They're unbeaten in the last 4. Up against Lesotho, just 1 win in the last 6. They've played 4 times since 2016. 3 wins for Bafana. Nothing for Lesotho. There's been 1 draw between the two sides. They last played, actually, I don't even see a result previously at Lesotho. So it's actually been 4 matches in a row. And, of course, nothing really given to Lesotho. I don't think that's going to change in this game. We're going to go 2-0 winners, South Africa, on this one. Let's kick it on forward into the next game. It is Congo Republic up against Tanzania. Also taking place on the 5th of September. The hosts coming into this at 5th of the table. No points to the name up against Tanzania, who are 2nd with 9 points to the name. They did play previously, but, of course, it doesn't look like a result was given. I think it was just I'm not too sure what the heck that result was. I don't think the Congo Republic played, but basically they've given the result to Tanzania, a 3-0 no-show in regards to Congo Republic on this one. This is over in Group E. I've gone with the hosts, I think. No, I've gone with the 0-0 scoreline. If it happens, we'll see, of course, when we come back. Moving forward is Morocco. They're taking on Niger. That's coming at you also on the 5th of September. They played 5 times in 2011. This is over in Group E. 5 wins out of 5 for Morocco. They are, of course, kicking ass and taking names. Top of the pops, 15 points to their name. Up against Nigeria, who are 4th, 6 points to their name. Coming out to last time around over the reverse fixture, 2-1 win as it was for Morocco back in March. They'll win this one as well, and I'm going big. 4-1 win for Morocco. That's right. Kicking on forward, we go to Kenya. My boys, they're up in action, taking on Gambia this week over in Group F. Kenya sit 4th right now, 6 points to the name, just 1 defeat in the last 6 up against Gambia, who are 5th with 4 points to the name, but they're on 58% form coming into this. The previous match between the two sides was a goal bonanza, 3-3 it was way back in March 2025. Got to back my boys to get something here. I've gone with another draw, which doesn't really do them any hope of qualifying for their first ever World Cup. So score draw right down the middle. Let's go to Ivory Coast, shall we, as they take on Burundi. That's over in Group F. Ivory Coast coming into this in top position, 16 points to the name. 4 wins the last 5 up against Burundi on back-to-back wins. They sit 3rd right now with 10 points over in Group F. They played twice in 2022, 2 wins out of 2 for Ivory Coast, including a 1-0 win for for Ivory Coast at Burundi last time around. Of course, coming into this, Ivory Coast on the back of a penalty shootout victory over Canada. Burundi beating Guinea-Bissau in a friendly, but this one's going to the home side. 2-0 winners, comfortably done. 3 more points for the hosts on that one. Somalia, they're taking on Guinea. Guinea coming at you over in Somalia, over in Group G. Somalia sitting in 6th right now with just 1 point to the name. They are winless in the last 11 matches. But it's Guinea coming into this in 5th with just 1 win in the last 6. That 1 win was probably this game. No, it wasn't. The previous time that these two sides played was a 0-0 scoreline back in March 2025, where Somalia picked up their one and only point. They, of course, host this time around, but Guinea not doing the best. I think they have too much quality in the end, and they'll get the victory over the line. Let's go to the final 3. It's Uganda taking on Mozambique. That's coming at you over in Uganda, who sit 4th right now in Group G, with Mozambique in 2nd with 12 points. Uganda's 9. They played at one time. It was the reverse fixture in Mozambique, resulting in a 3-1 win for Mozambique back in the day. Coming into this, of course, Mozambique on the back of that 3-1 loss to Zimbabwe. Uganda losing to Senegal in a match over in August. This one's tight. Going to go with a 2-1 win for Uganda for an upset potentially to see if they can leapfrog Mozambique in the rankings. Let's move on forward to Namibia, who are doing all right, I think, at the moment. They're going to be taking on Malawi over in Namibia. They played 7 times in 2011, just 1 win for Namibia, 3 wins for Malawi, and there's been 3 draws. Namibia currently find themselves 2nd in Group H up against Malawi, who are 5th with 6 points to their name. They previously played back in June 2025 in the COFSA Cup, but the last time they played competitively in this sort of qualification phase, it was the reverse fixture, 1-0 winners. It was for Namibia. I do think they'll get something out of this one. Namibia going to go with another 1-0 win, and that's going to put them in a good stead here, potentially making at least the second or the knockout phase in the grand scheme of things. And then finally, folks, we go to Nigeria, who need a bit of some points in the bag here. This is on the 6th of September. They're taking on Rwanda over in Group C. Nigeria currently find themselves in 4th with 7 points to the name, just 1 win in 4. Up against Rwanda, who are 2nd with 8 points to the name. They played 5 times in 2005, 1 win for Nigeria, 1 win for Rwanda. There's been 3 draws. They previously played back in March. It was a 3-0 win for Nigeria. So realistically, you're going to back the Super Eagles for a victory in this one. Going to go with a 2-0 win, though, to set them up for a grandstand finish in the qualification phase. So that's it, guys. That's what I think will happen in this coming match day. We'll be back for the next round, of course, which will be pretty much in and around about this time. So the next few days. So stand by. Of course, subscribe if you're new. Sit back and hold on tight. The World Cup qualifiers is ramping up a bit. We'll bring you back up to date when we return. But until then, we're done.